Hello everybody, March 3rd, 2023. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin's action. First up, what I said last time on Monday. Chop is brutal, is the name of the video. And it was a continued chopping until yesterday when we finally saw a dump. And you can see that 3 of the 4 scenarios were bearish, going down in the short term. So it makes sense that that is what ended up happening. I think this one is probably out at this point. So we are either in orange, meaning we're going here, 21, 21 and a half, haven't quite gotten there yet, or blue, meaning we could actually go down sub 20K, or we could even be heading down to 12 to 14 still. So let's take a look and see what Bitcoin is telling us now. So when we topped out here and we broke below that 23.3 level, right around here, that's when I said, all right, I'm not really expecting this anymore, or at least not in an easy way. And we're probably going to see some ugly action coming up. At best, we're just going to get chop. And, we had like a week or two's worth of chop right there. That really meant nothing. And we finally got the dump that we needed to see. Now we are back in this orange zone. So for orange scenario to be correct, we are technically back in that range. It could already be done. It doesn't look complete yet. I would prefer to see it actually take that low out. And in addition, this would be our A, B, and then we should see 5 waves down into C. And right now, I just see 3. So I think it's unlikely that we're done with this dump. I think there's a little bit more to go. Now it's possible that this is, instead of ABC, this is W, X, and Y. If that were the case, we would simply expect an ABC down into this, basically retesting this area again, this 21 and a half basically, because this would then be our A and our B, and we would get 1, 2, 3, 4. We should still get 1 down. So either way, we're getting at least 1 more leg down, most likely. Obviously, again, all of the action has been total trash. So trying to say that something is high probability right now is a fool's errand. There is no high probability. But I am willing to say that as long as we are underneath this green line, 22,750, as long as we're underneath that, Bitcoin should be heading down to this target for the 3rd wave, or the C wave possibly, of this correction. And that is basically 21.3 to 21.6 is the target for that, as long as we're below 22,750. Now, does going above 22,750 mean we're bullish again? Not necessarily. This could be part of this diagonal that I have drawn here, where we just ended 3 here on that dump. And we would then just see a 4 up to the diagonal line and then still get a 5 down. So realistically, in order to kind of say that the bulls are most likely taking over, we have to break that and also this diagonal line. And of course, the best thing to tell us would be if we actually got 5 waves up, which we don't have right now, of course. So I think, again, kind of end summary here is that we should be getting down at least to this area. From there, honestly, I expect to see a 4th wave bounce and or sideways, something like this, sideways choppy bouncy action, and then a final wave down for wave 5. And that would give us a 5 wave diagonal downwards to finish this off. It would put us well below that low, probably down in the 20 and a half region, maybe 20 and a half to 21, something like that. It all depends on how long all of this takes to play out, basically. But that would be the orange scenario. So in any case, if orange scenario is correct, we are getting into the territory of, even though I'm expecting further downside, we're back into, there's more reward versus risk for longs, and the further down we go, the more true that becomes. So personally, I'm not quite willing to start longing yet. I want to play this very cautiously because I do have more bearish scenarios. I'm not convinced 100% of this orange scenario. So I want to play it play it kind of safe, basically, and just kind of wait for confirmation. But that being said, I'm also not really looking to add much in the way of shorts during these bounces, because this is all going to be very choppy action coming down here. All right, just briefly, I still have this alternate orange scenario on here. I crossed out our scenario 2 at the beginning of the summary that I was doing. But technically we haven't broken this low yet. We haven't gone below the 886 of the move up. And so we could technically still have a 1, 2, maybe see a 3, 4, 5. So that's what I would be looking at if we broke through there. I would probably be looking at it in that light, most likely. But it's hard to say exactly what it would be doing then. So I'm kind of ignoring that scenario for the moment. Blue scenario, still a possibility. I'm not hugely thrilled with it. This is kind of a tiny 4. I would prefer for this to be our wave 3 rather than this to be our wave 3. It would make things look a little bit better for Bitcoin, but it is possible that we actually topped out the blue 5th wave right there. And then this is A, B, and C in blue. If that were the case, I would say this is our 1, 2, like I have drawn here. But instead of stopping right in this 21.5 area, if we see a big dump through there, that would be a wave 3, 4, and 5 if we get down like that. Deep into that blue area, sub 20K, I would say blue scenario is starting to look more likely at that point in time. And I would really want to wait for confirmation at that point, because it is going to be essential whatever the bounce looks like, basically. If the bounce is just 3 waves, then we will start heading down lower to 12 to 14. If instead we get an impulsive bounce finally upwards, actually be more like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something along those lines for a first wave. So this should be impulsive. This move right here, that should actually be a micro 5 up rather than 3 up. So that's what we're going to be looking at if we get down into that blue scenario. That'll tell me to buy after that initial 5 waves up, to buy the pullback and then expect upwards from there. So if blue scenario plays out, if we go under 19.8, give or take, then I'm going to be looking at the bounce and seeing what it looks like. Because again, warning, if that looks like 3 waves, then we are going down further. And that is still very much a possibility, because the longer this goes on, the less and less good it's looking. It is not looking particularly healthy. So, you know, this, I was willing to call that a 1. It is a diagonal. There's a 1, there's a 2. I'm willing to call this a 3 because of how strong it is. There's really not a clear micro structure within that, though, like I would like to see. So that makes me wary. And then this expanding flat for 4, that makes me wary as well. Although when your 2 is really kind of quick, the 4 oftentimes does take longer. So it is possible, but we would really need, you know, to still hit this target. That's the ideal, is orange holds, we hit that target. That would make Bitcoin look the best, in my opinion. And then we would see a pullback from there, and that would be a good long opportunity from that point. So at this point, you know, as far as like long-term just buying and holding goes, I'm not doing that. I need a lot more proof first before I'd be willing to do that, because we still have a lot of stuff up in the air right now. So we do have a path for the bulls. We do have a path for the bears. And we're just going to have to continue to watch the micro action and see what happens. But in the short term, I am expecting at least to see 21.3 to 21.6-ish area. All right, I think that sums up my thoughts on Bitcoin right now. Again, safest thing to do, honestly, is just to stay flat. This action is atrocious, so that would be the main suggestion I have. And we'll continue watching and see what happens going forward, and if we have some opportunities, hopefully, once this plays out, we can get some better opportunities once again to trade. All right, everybody, have a good weekend. I'll talk to you again on Monday.